Go ahead, Mia, do your thing. All right. So I want to go ahead and get us started. Billy, I want to say thank you so much for being here. We'll have more people joining. However, I don't want to wait to get started because I know we have a hard stop at 6 o'clock, and I know that you have a story to tell. I'm really impressed with your resume. Being in real estate for close to 20 years, selling over 450 houses. You have so many things that you've accomplished. And sometimes people see all that, they don't really recognize how you got started and what you've been through and the growth you've gone through to get to where you are today. So I was hoping that today you could actually share with us your story, talk to us about how you got into real estate, how you grew your business, how you got into being an ambassador for Cyberbacker, how you use leverage in your business to grow. I'm learning how to use leverage as well. I have a cyberbacker, Kimberly, who's changed my world in the last couple of months. So I'm super excited to have you here. So I'm going to give you the floor, and I'd love for you to just introduce yourself. And one thing I'll tell you about this call, say what you want to say how you want to say it. Like, everybody here is grown. If you have kids around, put on your headphones, but be real. This is real talk, and you can share how you want to share. And I welcome you to the first Real Talk with D-Rad. Thank you for being here, man.
Awesome, man. Hey, you're giving me the goosebumps, man. Thank you so much. I heard, a lot about you, but I never really took the time to go to your trainings. Maybe I thought, I was too cool or whatever, but or too busy. And you came to the Rutherford office, and my office is next door to the training, and just like listening to you talk, and also too your swag, right? You like to wear these hats, which I also love, and you also have to have the style. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then also too with your Nikes on how you color coordinate it, right? So it's all about brand and marketing, right? So I do have a lot of custom sneakers myself. I'm a sneaker guy.
Yep.
So it's funny how things happen because we get so caught up in our world of being busy that I stopped going and doing things that got me to where I'm at, such as going to office events, right? So I went to an office event because, I'm married, I got kids, and, I do the whole dad thing and things of that nature, that those hours that when we spoke was off hours and like kind of, late, so to speak, which was really 5 o'clock, right?
Right.
And just listening to you and building that rapport, made me realize that we're in the people business and we got to interact with people. So when we were, speaking and conversing with what you got going on, it's funny how you invited me, and I was honored for you to even ask me to being on it, on this call. And tell you the truth, I'm not a Scotch guy. I like vodka, right? So, and this whole scripts thing, I thought I had to like, role play and stuff, and I just didn't want to role play, right? So when you said, "Oh, it's not even about that," I'm like, "All right, then I'll go," right? So when you change it to real talk, I'm like, "Hey, I'm down with real talk, but I'm the wrong person. Maybe you should have asked because when I real talk, I kind of curse, and my wife yells at me because she's a kindergarten teacher and stuff." And she's like, I have a potty mouth, right? So I apologize if I slip, but I'm just giving you the disclosure that I might curse, So
You
it
have
is what
full
it is.
permission. I listen. Gary Vee is one of my biggest mentors, and he every other word. Listen, it's all about the content. So let's go.
Awesome, awesome, and I love that you have some big hitters. Orly is another one. That I heard her talk, and she's amazing too. So she just gives me inspiration to just go, go, go. So I'm happy and kind of nervous that she's on the call listening to me. So, but I'm just playing. So you asked me about my story. I have an interesting story that I always felt that I always had to truck because that's the only thing that we have, right? It's our story, our brand, our reputation. So I'm just gonna go into it. I'm a real estate kid. My mom's a realtor for 35 years. So she is an immigrant from Portugal. She came here when she was 9, doesn't have a college degree. She worked for public service, PSE&G, for I think 25 years, and she gave us a lifestyle, working real estate part-time. She gave us a lifestyle that, we were blessed. She paid for our college. My sister and I, we went to Europe, for the whole month of August, which I thought that was normal until I found out that that's not normal. I grew up, and I was in sales all my life, and I sold a lot. I made my bosses a lot of money. So in July, one time, I told my boss that I would see him in September, and he's like, "Why? What happened? Did somebody pass away? Are you sick?" I said, "No, I'm Portuguese. We take the month of August off." And he's like, "That's so full of shit. That's not even a thing." I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Nah, bro. What happens is, I'm Portuguese. We go to Portugal every month, in August, and I've been doing that since I'm little." He's like, "No, it doesn't work like that. No, you have like a week." I said, "Bro, that's bullshit because I make you a lot of money, and I made you a lot of money, and I'm taking a month off." So apparently it doesn't work like that. And I went to Portugal, and I found another job when I came back, and so it is what it is. But that my mom and my dad, hardworking people, they sacrificed a lot. And so what happens is they, in my eyes, accomplished a lot. So for them to give me a college education, which we think that college is, something of a prerequisite for success, which as I'm getting older, I'm clearly seeing that it's not. And and my wife doesn't like that because she's an educator, you know what I'm saying, and she's all about rules and systems and all that good stuff.
Right.
And so my thing is that I have to have double than what my parents have. That's something that I always put when I was little, and my parents struggled and stuff like that, and I really can't complain because of I know their story, right? So what happens is I was always determined, not taking no for an answer. So I was in sales all my life. I got into being a financial advisor. My dad is old school, so he says, "My roof, my rules." So he made me get my real estate license when I was 23. I'm 43, turning 4. I'm 40. I'm turning 44, and he made me get my real estate license. I told him that I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to be in my mom's shadow because she's successful, and she basically made me go to open houses with her, put up signs, when I was little. And every time she would go to places, she would talk to people. And I'm like, "Come on, can we just go somewhere and not talk to people?" Right. And I just hated that. Now I am her. My kids say the same thing about me. And so what happens is I just as you can see, I have ADD, so I tend to forget because I have so many thoughts going on my mind. But oh shit, I was gonna say, what was I saying? I forgot where I was going.
You were talking about your mom and being out there and always talking to people, and now you're
Oh
that
yeah.
close to your
So
kids.
so so what happens is I didn't want to be in her shadow, so I didn't do nothing. I got my real estate license, didn't do anything for 10 years. So my mom, made me renew my license, and I was real an asshole type of a son. I said, "Well, if you want me to do this, then you have to pay for my renewals." So she paid for my renewals for 10 years. And I got and I got my continuing education all done and stuff like that until I got burnt out in the financial sector world. And I just decided that enough's enough. I was coming home late. I wasn't making the money that I needed. I had, my firstborn, and I was seeing him grow without me not being there. Right. So I cold turkey decided to jump into real estate June of 2012. And then I did open houses like every weekend. I did showings. I was sweating, doing open houses in June, July, and August. And in 6 months, I made $50,000. And then the next 12 months, I made 100 grand. And so what happens is I never made 100 grand, and it was it just gave me so much energy that I was able to do that because not that many people can do that, right? So what happens is I started, reflecting on my resume, so to speak. So in 2012, I hit bronze. 2013, I did silver. 2014, silver. 2015, silver. And then what happens is in 2015, I decided to ask my broker for a raise. It was a small boutique company, and he didn't want to do that. So I went to a franchise, and in 2016, I decided to build a team, hire an assistant in my office, and in 2016, we hit gold. We did 100 transactions and 1 million in GCI in 2016, and I started really, full time half the year in 2012. So 5 years later. 2017 hit gold, did 100 units, had 25 people on the team. And then I asked, for my broker for more money, more of a split, and he balked. So I decided to go to Keller Williams. I'm not, yeah, Keller Williams, and I dissolved my team of 25 to 5. Did silver when I came, to KW the first year. Second year did platinum with 5 agents, restructured, became a solo agent in 2020, hit gold, and in 2021 hit platinum as a solo agent, 50 units, 20 million in volume. So what happens is it was just a whirlwind of me getting to certain levels and not getting paid what I'm worth, and then just the leap of faith. Now my wife is a teacher, and she's all about structure, and I must have given her a heart attack, a couple times, leaving the financial world, going into a boutique company, an industry that, I really didn't know much about. I sold life insurance and investments, college planning, retirement planning as a financial advisor, getting into real estate full time, and commissions, right? And then leaving a boutique, going to a franchise, and then leaving that franchise, going to another franchise. And now that I have the opportunity, and at that time in 2020, when COVID happened, I had 2 assistants. I was paying 100 grand in payroll. I had 2 assistants, one for 5 years and one for 7 years in my office. And when COVID came, I was, scared, and the sky was falling, so to speak. And I told them to do a certain things, and they didn't want to do it. They told me it wasn't in their job description. So that didn't go well with me. So I had to restructure my organization. They no longer were with me. I hired 2 virtual assistants from the Philippines for 40,000, saved myself 60 grand, and I doubled my income a year later, right? So, I was coming off a high in 2019 platinum. In 2020, I have to leave, get another staff, right? I was a solo agent. The world was falling. I didn't know what was happening, but I just believed in myself, and I burned my bridges, meaning that I knew for sure I will not go and get a corporate job, right? I wouldn't for I would rather eat dog food and cat food
Mm.
before I would go and work a corporate job, because I am not the type of person that can just be mediocre, because I would be disrespecting my family's name in my mind if I did, because I have parents that came from Europe to a country with no education really, and they accomplished so much. So every day in my mind, I wake up like I'm broke, and I wake up like I have to have a legacy. That so as I'm getting older, I'm thinking about death more. I don't know why. It's just crazy shit. And so what happens is I'm just like making sure that when I pass, what am I known for? Right? What kind of positive impact did I have in people's lives? Right? So I tell my wife, I say, listen, I expect like streets to be closed off for traffic. Like I expect like when people come see me, it's gonna be like 2 or 3 hours. That is that I feel bad that they're gonna be bored, and they're probably not gonna have so much to talk because they're gonna wait to pay my respects. So I'm gonna have a DJ. I told my wife I want a DJ at my funeral, and she thinks I'm crazy, right? So I'm like, and eventually I would want a statue created for me so birds can take a shit on me, whatever it is. But at least I can know that a statue was created, because in my mind, you've succeeded in life when you have some type of statue for you, right?
Right.
So this is the things that go in my mind, because I believe in entrepreneurship. I would not be able to have the life that I have if it wasn't for the flexibility to do the things that I want, because my parents busted their hump to give me what is it that I have. My dad didn't go to sports events. I wrestled, I played baseball, I did all this stuff, and my dad wasn't there. My mom was, but it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? But what happens is I knew he was proud of me. So when I didn't have kids, I wrote down my goals, my affirmations every day. I want to be a PTA dad. So when Kevin said, "Oh, well, I'm so happy that I can go on my first trip with my son," I'm like, "Dude, I'm all about that. I'm all about class dads. I think it's overrated that it's all about class moms. You know what I'm saying? So I'm representing the dads and all that, right? So I'm very involved with my kids' sports. I take my kids to sport. My son is a long stick lacrosse player, right? I've got him into kindergarten and he's a seventh grader, right? He's in club, right? He's getting looked at, and he's great in jujitsu, right? He's 12. He's doing jujitsu for the last 4 years. He disarmed two situations of two of his friends being bullied, and he intervened because he had confidence that he could take the kid out because he knows a few things. You know what I'm saying? And my daughter, she's 7, she's in first grade. And I tell her, I say, if she's here, I'll bring her in. I said, Avery, if a boy does something that you don't like, what do you do? All right, she's 7 years old, first grade. Daddy, stop, stop. What do you do, Avery? Okay, I punch him in the throat. Thank you, Avery. That's what you do. You punch boys in the throat if they do something bad to you, right? Because here's the thing, we live in a messed up world. I'm putting her in jujitsu next year, right? I think that we need to, teach our kids to protect themselves because of confidence, right? Everybody right now in their 40s and 50s taking pills for depression and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying that that's not a thing, but I'm just saying, like it's confidence. You need to be okay in your skin. Like, I have a dad bod, right? I walk with no shirt, right? So my wife's like in your head, do you really think you're hot? Like, do you think like you have like an 8 pack? Give it to the wives to really put it in place. I said, listen, in my mind, I do. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what people think. Shit, it's hot. I'm gonna take off my shirt.
Got the
You
dad.
know what I'm
Listen,
saying?
our wives keep us honest, man.
Yeah, oh, for sure they do, right? So what happens is, it's all about how we feel. So I don't know if I'm going on a tangent and stuff like that, but it's about life by design. It's about me dreaming the things that I want, because I do believe that you have to dream what you want into existence, right?
Mhm.
So as I'm going through the resume, I started seeing that and remembering when I first started, I cried so much. I was showing houses, putting offers, losing bidding wars, being in the office at 1 in the morning, typing up offers back in the day, right? At that time, I used to be writing, and then I had to learn how to, do it through DocuSign and send it electronically and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, this sucks. And then it was like, and someone told me, oh, you should get an assistant. At that time, it wasn't virtual assistant, it was just regular assistant. And I'm like, man, I don't know. And then I got to commit to a payment. I don't know. But listen, I decided that I had to put myself out there. And thank God I did, right? We're always scared to do new things. And you know what? It's always going to be like that, But in order for us to succeed and grow, we need to associate ourselves with other people that are successful. And from my understanding and my experience, everybody that is successful has got kicked in the mouth.
Mhm.
They've had some messed up stories, and you know what? It's unbelievable. Men, women, short, tall, skinny, fat, black, white, Asian, whatever, all different types of people. They all go through the same shit. And what happens is it's a prerequisite in my mind. We have to go through this shit in order to get the abundance of life.
Yep.
So my wife, she says I'm dyslexic, right? So you're right. When people say no to me, in my head, I'm like, it's on. Like no means on.
Yeah.
Weird means wealth, right? It's not where we're at, it's where we're going. Compete, don't compare, right? So these are all these little sayings that I say to myself so I can get into the zone, because when I wake up, I have to wake up as a warrior, right? Like in my office, I don't know if you can see this. I
That's
have
it.
the
Spartan.
Spartan helmet,
I love
right?
that.
If you, I don't
Warrior.
know if you see the movie 300, right?
Oh
So what
yeah.
happens is, like, back in the day, like what the gladiators and stuff like that, like we were worrying about people coming into our village and burning up our huts and stuff like that, and what kind of animal are we going to kill so we can cook and feed the village? Like, when I go to Portugal and listening to people in the Philippines, because I have virtual assistants and stuff like that, like I was on a Zoom call and they're going like this. I'm like, what's happening? And she's like, oh no, we're just going through an earthquake. I said, are you kidding me? Can you just hang up the phone and go for shelter? Oh no, it's okay. It only gets bad after 20 minutes to see what the aftermath is going to be. And I'm
Wow.
like, damn. Here in America, people wake up, go to the bathroom to take a pee, and they hit their foot on their bed, and they bent the nail backwards, and they're already calling out sick.
And they sitting through an earthquake, right? But it's that mentality you talked about. You said, I view it every morning I wake up broke. And I always say that. I wake up unemployed every day. And my day is to get out there and kick ass. And I love your whole thing about being dyslexic and no meaning on. For me, no means not yet. So I'm on that same wavelength with you. Like if somebody tells me no, I'm like, game on. I'm gonna turn that no into a yes. Like, let's go.
Yeah. And we need to be basic. We need to stop thinking that we're better than the numbers, right? The numbers are the numbers are the numbers, right? Like, we need to understand that it's a 4-to-1 ratio. And I don't care how good you are, maybe 3-to-1, right? But I know that I need to get 4 no's to get 1 yes, right? And what happens is, not lately, but back in like November and December, when I thought like the world was ending, is I started, playing defense as opposed to being offense. And you know what? I started changing my mindset. I went to family reunion. I started hanging out with successful people, and I started changing my mindset. Even now, where I'm at right now, and you know what? March, kick ass so far. Like, but January and February, I was just working every day. I work every day because every day matters, and thank God I stuck with it. That now March is awesome. April is even doing better. Like, last month, like 75,000 of GCI. That I created. This month so far, another 30. We're closing. May, probably 155 of GCI in closing. Right now, that sounds sexy and shit, but I wasn't making money, bro. Like, like January and February, right? Like, I'm coming from like platinum income, where I had 5 virtual assistants, to letting go 2 of them, still having 3, and hitting silver, last year, because I decided to sell my house and build a house and buy a franchise and stuff like that. So I'm all over the place. But all the activity, from what I did, I still didn't give up. And now we're going to have a kick ass this year, and hopefully the following year too, because of, land development and new construction that I'm going through right now.
You're going to have a great year. And I wanted you to touch on something because I believe in the 3 L's of real estate: getting leads, turning those into listings, and then leverage. And you just brought up that you bought a franchise. So I'd love for you to talk about that, but also talk about how you're using leverage to hit those numbers.
So what happens is, I'm from New Jersey, right? So I don't really trust anybody or anything until seeing is believing. I don't know if anybody other than that feels that way. So when I came into Keller Williams, they started talking about this MAPS program, and I'm like, dude, that's such a scam, bro. You got to pay $1,000 a month for only 30 minutes a week. I said, that's BS. You know what? I don't have to pay somebody to tell me something I already know. Man, I was so ignorant, right? So I didn't have a MAPS coach for the first year. The second year I got it. changed my income, a lot, and getting the negative cobwebs in my mind. But even though I trusted my coach so much, he told me about virtual assistant. I'm like, dude, that's BS. No way in hell am I gonna trust somebody in the Philippines with my database, bro. I got like 5,000 people, in my CRM. I'm not trusting them, and then with my emails, no way. And then what happens is COVID happened, and I decided to I'm doing my checks. I decided to take the leap of faith in getting it. And those people in the Philippines, they're so hardworking people. They go above and beyond that. Changed my life, and I saw the little that they're getting, how much their lives were getting changed. That I decided to buy the franchise when the opportunity came. And now I'm at a point that I want to change other people's lives, the same way that my lives, were changed. So, it's true, it's leverage, right? So now I just focus on, my 20%, which is being the rainmaker and making it rain with activity, right? So I practice, drill, and rehearse on my mindset before I make the calls. I make my calls, build my relationship. My schedule is 8:30 in the morning to 2:30. I drop off my kids to school every single day because I want to, and I'm free at 8:30, and then by 2:30 I'm done because I need to drive to go pick them up. But that's my time to make money. And so I do calls, follow-ups, appointments, negotiating. Then everything else I delegate, to my assistants. I haven't written up a contract in 9 years. I don't know how to freaking do a listing. I don't know how to upload. I don't even know how to do freaking command. Nor do I freaking want to learn, right? Now, because when I didn't have shit and I was crying so many days, say, man, this sucks. I'm typing up an offer. Man, I can't wait for the day for me not to even do this shit. And you know what? And I wrote it for 5 years. My problem is I have everything that I wrote. I have to reinvent myself, right? Because I got too complacent because I was a control freak. I had to do it. I got into the mode that I just delegate everything now. And then I'm like, damn, I just delegate everything. I have to get back in there. So now I'm back in there creating system scenes, what's working, and I'm still delegating. But I took myself off the high horse because I'm like, oh, I'll hire an ISA and I'll have the ISA do it. And that's all bullshit because people like me and trust me, and the reason why I can make a lot of things happen with a little effort is because people like me because I'm real. And my no ISA is going to get the result I'm going to get. And my coach said, "Listen, man, why don't you lead by example? Stop acting, stop sitting pretty." And I'm like, "Damn, you're such an asshole." But you're right, right? And I started being going back in there, and it feels good, man. I still got it. So I'm working out, like I'm feeling like the alpha male. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing like 100 push-ups, a day, like in the morning. Where in the like last year in June, like I almost busted my nose on six. Like my arms were trembling. I couldn't even do 6 push-ups. Right. This morning I did 125. So all of a sudden you start changing your mindset. You start doing things that you told yourself you couldn't do. I started fasting, right? I dropped weight, right? I decided to start looking good and not wear t-shirts and jeans. So I'm wearing blazers again, right? I'm acting the part, but I still wear jeans. I still wear shorts and flip-flops. You know what I'm saying? So life is good now, but it's all about, like you said, the leads, right? The listings and the leverage, right? And sometimes, like, I'm like, I hate dealing with buyers, and I'm a listing agent, but things change, right? The economy. So I'm like, you know what? Let me deal with buyers. And then I'm like, man, why am I doing this? I'm getting so frustrated. I'm starting to hate real estate again. And so I'm going back to doing what I like, which is dealing with dealing with sellers, and putting pride in myself, and not, thinking that I need to deviate from what worked, right? Just because of the noise, right? So I try not to watch TV. Well, this is my thing. I watch CNN for 5 minutes. I watch Fox News for 5 minutes, and then I watch ridiculousness for an hour and a half, right? And that's what I do, And I'm in bed by 10:30. I wake up at 6 a.m. and I work from 2:30. I'm sorry, from 8:30 to 2:30. I'm with my kids from 2:30, to 5, and then from 5 to 7, I'm making follow-up phone calls on appointments. From 7 to 10:30, I'm with the family, and that's my schedule.
So here's what I'm interested to hear from you, because we have a lot of agents on here who understand they need to leverage in order to have the type of life they want and have the schedule that they want to have. With you being a franchise owner of Cyberbacker, I love for this to be an opportunity for you to just briefly talk about the advantages of hiring a virtual assistant. But I also, if you could touch on it, how could someone who's just getting started with a VA use them to the most, to the fullest, to leverage their business? What would you recommend they do if they hired a VA to give them the best advantage?
Listen, I'm kicking myself in the ass for not getting a virtual assistant right after being licensed.
Wow. But they always tell you to wait until you make money before you hire someone.
If you build it, they will come. Do you understand? This is what somebody told me. How many, listen, 70% of phone calls go to voicemail, right? So what happens is, let's say you miss 2 calls a day. Let's say that's 5 days a week because you take 2 days off. That's 10 leads. In my market, each sale is $10,000 in commissions. I'm like, damn, I'm losing 100 grand a week.
Wow. That's one way to think about it. Wow.
That's 400 grand a month I'm losing. That's $1.8 million a year I'm losing.
Wow.
And I'm bitching for $1,500 a month as a non-KW agent. And you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
That's what, $18,000 for the year.
A year.
That's what, 2 deals a whole year, right? They say when you get an assistant, you can kind of guarantee 2 extra deals a month. That's 24 a year. That's $240,000
Cost you 18 grand.
for 18 grand. Dude, even if you say, listen, I'm paying, that's 40 hours a week. Even if you say, hey, listen, virtual assistant, just stay next to your computer and your phone and just wait for me to tell you something to do. It's still worth it. So here's the thing, what they can do. They can take this is when I surrender. I gave them access to my iCloud. They took all my contacts and they put it into a CRM, right? They emailed them, called them, and hey, listen, we're up. This is Billy Pena's executive assistant. Because now, listen, dude, you know how cool that you look and how professional you look when you get a call or an email from a virtual assistant.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And now they're contacting them, to follow up and saying you're updating their database, right? And so they do that. The leads that they get, they do the searches for the buyers. They send them, potential leads, options for them to choose from. They set up the appointments with them. They put it in my calendar, right? They type up my contracts, they type up my listings, they upload it, right? Because so you can have the time to talk to people and build relationships. Hey, listen, just want to let you know that the market's hot. Did you ever think about getting into real estate? And you know what? They would say, or hey, listen, I'm helping people, get becoming millionaires through real estate.
Wow.
You what? Yeah, I'm helping people become millionaires through real estate. Well, what do you mean? Well, listen, if I help you get 3 real estate properties and you hold them for a couple of years, let's say 10 years with the equity, you sell all 3 of them, you made yourself $1 million. You're a millionaire.
Yeah.
And how do you like your boss? You love your boss? Hey, how about when you start making money and you're a millionaire, you tell your boss, you know what? I'm firing you and you're an asshole and I'm out.
Power.
Right? So what happens is it's just mindset. It's about waking up, making a decision. How bad do you want it? And here's the thing. You need to bet on you. I bet on me every single day. And I have to, and then I say, listen, I want a life by design. And that's the reason why I got into this whole cyberbacker business, because this is the 5th year that they've been in business. They've been on Inman, they're on Forbes. You know what? They have legal entity. That means that if they decide to take your contacts and go somewhere and sell it to your competitors, you know what, we have a legal entity in the Philippines and we can prosecute them. And you know what, they don't want to be dealing with the law over there. Just so you to, just for you to know that how strict the law is. If you
Yep.
get married there, it's like almost impossible to get a divorce in the Philippines.
Wow. Wow. And it's interesting, like we think about when you think about leverage, if you really track your numbers as a real estate agent on the phone prospecting, you're probably worth two, three, $400 an hour. So to be able to leverage at $10 an hour, like I don't know if you remember when I was vacillating on whether or not to hire a VA, I kept getting stuck because I'm like, I $800 a month for a part-time person, that's a lot of money. But when I really started thinking about what that person could do in 20 hours and how that freed up my schedule, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to have that type of leverage. The problem is, I think a lot of people don't understand how to best utilize the VA, how it can free up their time to actually focus on their business. All we really need to be focused on, like you said, is making the calls, building the relationships, getting the listing signed, and everything else after that, everything can be leveraged out. You don't have to sit open houses. You don't have to write contracts. You don't have to deal with the correspondence. You don't have to do the marketing. You don't have to do the social media. It can all be leveraged out. And if you just spent your 40 hours getting more deals and having more conversations, the VA pays for itself.
For sure it does. For sure. And you know what? I think everybody should have three.
Well, so I want you to talk about why you think everyone should have three. And then I want you to talk about who trains these VAs, especially like just talk to KW people who are on command and are using the systems of KW. I'd love to hear why you think we need three and then who trains them and how the training works.
All right, cool. I gotta get off in 5 minutes so I can go pick up my kid
No
at
worries.
lacrosse. But so what happens is I'm on a Zoom call every single day with my VAs. So from 10:30 to 11, I'm on a Zoom call. I let them know how are they. I ask how are they doing, how's their family, right? So I can show them how much I care. And then we go into what is it that I need for them to do throughout the day. And then they go through what a recap on the email that they sent me the night before of everything that they did for the day, you know, which they send me at the end of their day every single day. Every morning they send me a text saying, "Hey, good morning." And then every time they leave their, you know, at 5 o'clock, they say, "Have a good night," right?
Right.
You know, and so I can know what they're doing because I'm cheap and I want to make sure if I'm paying them, you know, money that I'm getting my shit done, right? And so what happens is, you know, I take them through what I want them to do, but they're Kellerized, meaning that the person who founded, you know, Cyberbacker was a mega agent, Craig Goodliff, from Utah, and he was selling like 200 units, you know, a year, and he was getting burnt out. And then what happens is he became a MAPS coach, and then he opened it up to, you know, team leaders and leadership and stuff like that because, you know, of just delegating because they can't handle it all. And then it just grew. So now there's about 4,000 people, not just realtors, but mortgage people, title, doctors, lawyers, CPAs, jujitsu places, you know, anybody who's running a business. It's about leverage, delegating, about, you know, setting up appointments, following up, you know, reading email, social media, you know, they even do bookkeeping, they do property management, right? So what happens is the company Cyberbacker has head backers that trains them on things like that, right? So when somebody hire somebody, they have a 10-day orientation that they're getting trained before they start, you know, the first day of work with you, right? So what happens is you know, the steps if somebody wanted to go get it is you can go to you know, leverageyourfuture.com. So leverageyourfuture.com, you can click free a business evaluation. And my growth backer, Jonah, she's awesome. She would basically set up a consultation, you know, for 15, 30 minutes to see what is it that you need. And then from there, you know, she would take you through the process. But we would set up about 3 to 5 candidates, you know, based on the job description that you're looking for them to do, and let it be part-time or full-time. And then what happens is you get, you know, their resume, a video, and their KPA, a personality assessment, of the type of person that they are, so you can be prepared in interviewing them the next day. And then also too, as a franchise owner, I decided to incorporate a coaching, division into this, that we will teach, our clients, the people who are hiring VAs, on how to utilize their VA, and then how to teach their VAs on how to be efficient so they could be, productive for their bosses that just hired them. Right. So these are things, because most people, like, never hired somebody, never, coached or led. Right. So we're salespeople. What the hell do we know about shit like that? Right. So what happens is, that's why that's why I got, a coaching, division, so we can make sure that, your VA is good, so good, that changed your life so much that now you're going to get another one, to do commercial, to do social media, to do specific tasks, not being so general, right? Maybe having somebody to just do research, things of that nature, right? There's so many different things. Like, the sky is the limit. All the things that you wanted to do in life, you can now do. It's like having a cheat sheet. Like, I had Cliff Notes, right? Those yellow books that, forgot what they're called, but I never read a real book in college, right? I got Cliff Notes, right? And this is what it is. This is Cliff Notes to having a life by design, having an unbalanced life to have a balanced life.
I love that. When I when I hired the cyberbacker, Ira just joined the call. Ira recommended cyberbacker to me, and I interviewed 4 people, and I chose the person I wanted to work with. And I was just so blown away because they said, "What do you need the cyberbacker to work on?" And I gave them a list. I need a website created on Squarespace. I want somebody on LinkedIn, someone who can do YouTube, someone who can use Canva and create social media marketing material for me. You guys did such a great job training her on everything I needed. Now I can just say, do this. And she's like, I got it. It's done. And I know I'm going to get that end of day report, and I can check off everything I assigned her, and it's all being done, all being completed. So I love everything you said. And I put the link, leverageyourfuture.com, in the chat. So anybody who's interested in doing that can actually log on and have an opportunity to figure out if hiring a VA is right for them. So I want to be respectful of your time. I know you got to go get your son. I know you got to wrap up. I see you putting the hat back on. So I want to say this, Billy, thank you. Thank you for being here and sharing your story. I hope you will come back,
For sure, bro.
spend some time with us, and maybe have a proper drink next time.
Hey, no doubt. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you. I know you got to go, so I'm gonna respect your time, and we'll holler at you the next time you come back.
Thank you. Take care,
You're
guys.
the man,
Be
bro.
good.
Miss you, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Billy.
All right, guys. So quick question. Based on hearing Billy talk,